Whenever you think of anime, a few series might come to mind. Of course, you have the standard long-running anime such as Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, or maybe even newer prevalent anime such as Demon Slayer or Chainsaw Man. Another series that might come to mind is One Piece, and with good reason. One Piece has been around for over 2 decades, has outsold the Batman comics, has sold as many manga volume copies as the Harry Potter books, and has grossed over 500 million from manga sales alone, making it the best-selling manga of all time. Because One Piece has been running for so long, with over 1,000 episodes available to watch, this series can easily turn away a new viewer just due to the sheer amount of content and lore it contains. Your average viewer will not have the time to invest watching every single episode starting from the beginning and catching up on all the events that have happened throughout the series. To give you an idea of what to expect from this series, this video will cover and explain in detail the plot of One Piece, the riveting characters included that makes One Piece so mesmerizing, the expansive world building that allows for the series to be more fleshed out, the ingenious power concepts that pave the way for visually captivating battles, the creative designs that make several characters distinctive, the stakes involved in several arcs that are suspenseful and keeps the viewer on the edge of their seat, and the jaw-dropping inspirational moments that are sure to give you goosebumps and have you coming back to watch the series over and over again. Before I cover the start of our main protagonist's story, I have to give a short prologue. The story starts over 20 years ago before the start of the story with the execution of the Pirate King Gold D. Roger, a prominent pirate that conquered the Grand Line and obtained the One Piece, a world-renowned treasure that is said to contain everything this world has to offer, that he left behind on the hidden island of Raftel. Before he was executed, these were his final words: "You want my treasure? You can have it, but you have to find it first. I left it all there. Go find it." These last words of the Pirate King sparked what would become known as the Great Pirate Era. Pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line in search of the One Piece, including our main protagonist, Monkey D. Luffy, an adolescent high-spirited teenager that aims to become the next king of the pirates. After setting sail for the Grand Line, he gathers a capable crew composed of powerful, resourceful, and occupational members. Together, they sail from island to island, slowly progressing through the Grand Line in search of the road poneglyphs that together form a map that leads to the last island containing the legendary treasure, the One Piece. If found, you earn the title of Pirate King. A simple, captivating story. I remember watching this series as a kid and immediately being alerted to the mystery of what the One Piece is and the idea of devil fruits, which are mysterious fruits located all throughout the world that grants the one who eats them prodigious powers, but also takes away the user's ability to swim. I've been watching this series ever since. Now that you know how the story of One Piece begins and what the protagonist's goal is, I can now cover some of the compelling characters that really brings this series to life. And who better to start off with than Monkey D. Luffy? I know what some of you might be thinking, out of all the characters to discuss, why start off with the main character? Well, Luffy just has that big of an impact on the story, and he just has so many badass inspirational moments. He wants to be the king of the pirates, and every time he states this, there is absolutely zero hesitation in his voice and no doubt visible on his face. No matter what enemies he encounters, he stands his ground and doesn't back down. If you threaten his friends or say you're going to be the king of the pirates rather than him, you better be prepared to compete for that title that he'll put his life on the line for. His goofy personality and inability to think ahead in most situations allows the story to progress in ways you wouldn't think were possible. His gluttonous appetite is a pretty standard trait among anime protagonists, and it allows for the presentation of several feasting scenes compiled of delicious food that you wish you could just grab through the screen and dig into yourself. He has insane monstrous willpower seen throughout several fights he is in, and really shows that no matter the circumstances he is in or what odds he is up against, he will never give up until he brings his enemy down. Next up, we have his vice captain and the future strongest swordsman, Roronoa Zoro, a widely appealing fan favorite and with good reason. He is a 3-sword style wielding swordsman, has devilish willpower on the same caliber as his captain, and of course, will never give up until he achieves his dream of becoming the strongest swordsman in the world. A lot of fans will troll Zoro online left and right because of his insane, and I mean insane, poor sense of direction. I like that Oda gave Zoro the trait of loving to drink alcohol, which of course is a standard characteristic among pirates. Oda has also given Zoro several different distinctive swords to use throughout the series, including Yubashiri, Wado Ichimonji, Shusui, and now currently he is in possession of a sword that previously belonged to Oden Kozuki, with that being the famous blade Enma. The fights Zoro is in has allowed him to develop skills he previously did not possess, such as the skill to send flying slashes towards his opponent, cutting through steel, and of course being able to call upon his Ashura and the Billion-Fold World ability. I of course have to mention the defining moment between him and the warlord Kuma, where he agreed to take in all the pain and fatigue Luffy had accumulated during his fight with another warlord, with that being Gecko Moria, in order to save his captain from being captured and handed over to the world government. That moment alone just goes to show the caliber of man Zoro is and just how far he's willing to go for his captain. After everything I have said about Zoro, you should be able to understand why he is such a fan favorite among the anime community, and shows why he is fit to stand and fight side by side with Luffy as his loyal vice captain. Following Zoro, I of course have to include some of the main antagonists seen throughout the series, and who better to include than the copious heavenly demon Don Quixote Doflamingo. There is so much I can say about my favorite anime antagonist. He is extensively fleshed out throughout most of the series, so much so that I don't even know where to start. I love his design in the Dressrosa arc. His devil fruit, the Ito Ito no Mi, is one of my favorite devil fruits seen throughout the series, even granting him the ability to fly. He is insanely powerful, having the ability to use all three types of haki, including Conqueror's haki, and is even trained to such a degree that he can use devil fruit awakening. He has several established connections to multiple organizations, including the underground black market, where he deals in the trading of weapons and even manufactured devil fruits that he sells to one of the strongest pirate crews in the One Piece series, with that being the Beast Pirates, captained by the strongest creature in the world, the Yonko Kaido, and even the antagonist of the film Gold movie, with that being Gildo Tesoro. He was a former celestial dragon, who are world nobles that are the direct descendants of the 20 kings that established the world government. His fight with Luffy to me was the equivalent of Naruto versus Pain in the Naruto series, mainly because it was a fight that pushed the main protagonist to his limits, forcing Luffy to give it everything he had, including resorting to his Gear 4th ability, which was the same as Naruto resorting to using Sage Mode. Both Doflamingo and Pain were so powerful that it took Luffy and Naruto giving it everything they had in order to bring their enemy down. The nicknames Doflamingo acquired have a nice ring to them, being nicknamed the Heavenly Demon, being a former celestial dragon, and being the most influential underworld broker going by the alias Joker. Doflamingo, of course, is the captain of his own crew, ruling over the kingdom of Dressrosa alongside them and being composed of several strong-ranking officers. He is so strong he was granted the title of Warlord of the Sea and has the strength, power, and abilities to hold true to that title. A truly strong and enthralling antagonist capable of rivaling not just the admirals, but the main protagonist as well. Following Doflamingo, I can't think of any other antagonist to talk about than the very own Charlotte Katakuri. Easily another one of my favorite anime antagonists, and from the same series too. Oda really knows how to create a compelling and elegant character. Having only been in one arc and limited screen time compared to other characters, Katakuri has made a massive impact throughout the anime community. His design is near goddamn perfect. He has a tragic and sad backstory and is the son of a Yonko. His powers are similar to Luffy's, having eaten the Mochi Mochi no Mi, a special paramecia that gives Katakuri the ability to create, manipulate, and transform into mochi. He has potent armament haki, and he has trained his observation haki to such a degree that he is able to see several seconds into the future. How fucking cool is that? A perfect power concept that is just what is needed to present the main protagonist with his next challenge to overcome. During his battle with Luffy, Katakuri belittles Luffy to no end until he is forced to acknowledge Luffy's strength, simply because despite pummeling Luffy into oblivion, the future Pirate King simply will not fall. Their fight also includes one of the best Conqueror's haki clashes in the series, and at the climax of their fight, Katakuri asks Luffy if he will come back to take down his mother, indirectly stating that he himself believes that Luffy will become the king of the pirates before falling to his back. Every time I watch that scene, I swear to Christ I get goosebumps. That scene is just that inspirational and powerful. The entire fight, Katakuri is belittling his opponent, stating that Luffy can't possibly beat him, you're not strong enough, I'm stronger and faster than you, and then finally at the end of their fight, asks Luffy if he will come back to take down his own mom. A sweet commander of a Yonko's crew acknowledges Luffy despite him being his enemy. Easily one of my top moments in One Piece, hands down. Truly a character worthy of holding the title of Yonko Commander. Now that I have covered some characters that are both main protagonists and antagonists, I can move on to the world building category. Oda really has outdone himself with the expansive lore seen throughout the One Piece series. The scenery from the islands the Straw Hats sail to range from dry barren deserts to the beautiful Spanish-inspired islands of Dressrosa. Not just the islands, but the established hierarchy that is the world government, consisting of several ranking officers just like any other military faction, such as the vice admirals, the even more dominant admirals, and the mystery surrounding the higher-ups that is the 5 elders. I can't wait to see their fights animated in the series if they do end up getting their own separate battles. With the elders having such power and status, I can imagine they can hold their own in a fight. There's also bounties put on the powerful pirates, which indicates just how powerful they are and how much of a threat they pose. The so-called government dogs, collectively known as the 7 warlords of the sea, are all distinctive, and I don't know anyone who would complain about there being an introduction of another organization or faction composed of several strong, capable fighters. The series is just so detailed. There are so many connections between several characters that really makes the lore of this series nearly unparalleled to other shows. For example, the Yonkos being a part of the same crew at one point in their earlier lives, Shanks being a part of the previous Pirate King's crew, Luffy being inspired by Shanks, who is now a current Yonko, and even the Straw Hats throughout the series having multiple interactions between several of the warlords. There are many more examples I could provide, but if I did, this video would drag on for ages. The story being so extensive isn't necessarily a bad thing in my opinion. Of course, like mentioned before, the sheer amount of content available could overwhelm a new viewer, but if you can bite the bullet and watch up to at least the end of the Arlong Park arc, you will either be into this series or not. If the lore and relationships between the vast amount of characters throughout the series doesn't capture your attention, then perhaps the intriguing power concepts shown might be enough to convince you to start watching One Piece regularly, or at the very least, cause you to acknowledge what a great anime One Piece is. The power concepts seen throughout the series have such a vast range and are ever expanding to this day. One in particular that stands out, and I feel like is a good place to start, would be the power of the Opi Opi no Mi, and was consumed by the fan favorite Surgeon of Death, Trafalgar D. Walter Law, making the character a free modification human, a fitting power for the captain of the Heart Pirates that not only holds the title of captain of his crew, but is also the ship's doctor. The power of his devil fruit allows Law to create or conjure a transparent blue spherical field around himself, with the user being the epicenter of the room ability. This allows Law to gain control of everything located within the territory of the blue sphere. The sphere becomes his operating room, so to speak, hence the surname Law has acquired, with that being the surname the Surgeon of Death. The abilities Law is capable of doing range from swapping the positions of a target with another object or teleporting, levitating and moving objects as big as entire battleships freely at will, being able to scan an individual much like an x-ray machine and see what potential objects someone might be carrying on their person, being able to cut and separate a person's body parts and reposition them in any fashion he chooses. Yes, he could even cut off your dick and attach it to your head if he wanted to, making you a dickhead, and even being able to swap a person's personality with someone else. A devil fruit this strong would be overpowered if there weren't limits in place to impede that from happening. That's why the use of this devil fruit depends on the stamina held by the user, and the abilities may only be used within the sphere itself. This devil fruit is considered to be so powerful that at one point in the story, it was sought after by even the world government for the price of 5 billion berries before it was consumed by Law 13 years prior to the start of the story. Of course, there have been other abilities similar to this seen throughout other anime, but what makes this one in particular stand out is just due to the fact that in order to use all of these techniques, you must first conjure the room and have the stamina needed to maintain it. Extended use will just have you feeling fatigued and unable to use the fruit's abilities, which can put you in a tight spot if you're up against other strong and skilled opponents. Several other characters throughout the series are in possession of devil fruits that are just as dangerous and diverse as Law's Opi Opi no Mi. Some of them are even more proficient with the use of their abilities, and not all of them come with the negative drawbacks that others might have. Another character that has exceptional mastery over their devil fruit would be Portgas D. Ace. Now, Ace is such a beloved character and has been fleshed out thoroughly throughout the series. A lot of fans hold a special place in their hearts for Ace, and I completely understand why. His devil fruit is insanely powerful, and not just that, but he has ample background. He grew up with our main protagonist Luffy, is the son of the former Pirate King Gold D. Roger. He has such massive fan appeal that even to this day in the current arc of the story, he is still being incorporated and animated into several episodes. This category is supposed to be about power concepts, but given how much appeal he has with the audience, I only felt it was appropriate to discuss some of the things that made him have such an impact on the story. Of course, not just his backstory makes a lot of people fancy him, but the abilities he's able to manifest from his devil fruit do as well. That's kind of how it works. The more powerful you are, the more you stick out, and the more attention you'll have centered around a character, and his devil fruit makes makes him insanely powerful. When we were first shown a glimpse of Ace's true power, it not only stunned the audience but the Straw Hats as well. Being able to take out a small fleet of ships with one attack really sells the idea of why Ace holds the title of commander in a Yonko's crew. Taking out several ships in one attack isn't the only thing Ace is capable of doing. He can create flame pillars, shoot flaming bullets from his fingers, shoot a cross-shaped column of fire directly at his opponent, and can manifest a giant fireball resembling the sun, which is considered to be his ultimate technique. Most of the techniques in Ace's arsenal were put on display during his fight with one of the series' main antagonists, with that being Blackbeard. He really did hold his own and was able to inflict a lot of damage, but sadly the fight ended with Ace's defeat and him being captured and handed over to the world government. Nevertheless, Ace really is a powerful character, and it's a shame that we didn't get to see more of him in action before his passing during the Paramount War. Having covered Ace, one good character that comes to mind that should be covered next is none other than Cypher Pole's Rob Lucci, another one of my favorite antagonists of One Piece. I don't know about the rest of you, but I like characters whose designs involve fashionable dress attire. It gives them a sense of class and elegance. Not just Rob Lucci, but all of CP9 have the theme of wearing black suits, which in my opinion is very fitting clothing to give an organization that allies with the world government. It's like, hey, you get to do specific selective tasks for us and look graceful while doing so. Rob Lucci's garments, of course, isn't the only thing he has going for him. He's a very capable physical fighter that's enhanced even further with the use of his Zone Devil Fruit. For those who aren't familiar, Zone Devil Fruits are known to be more physically amplifying devil fruits. Given that Rob Lucci is a physical fighter to start with, this potent combination only increases his capabilities as a close-range fighter, making him that much more of a dangerous opponent to go up against. His powers are known to be called Rokushiki, or in English they are referred to as the 6 powers. These 6 powers allow for the use of 6 individual abilities. Listing them off, they are as follows: Geppo, Tekai, Rankyaku, Soru, Shigan, and Kami. All members of CP9 possess each of these individual abilities. Rob Lucci, being an exceptional master of the 6 powers, was able to develop his own 7th technique, known as Rokugan. All techniques require years of intensive training to develop and master. Having mastered them has made Rob Lucci a proficient assassin and an invaluable ally to the world government. After the time skip, and with even more prolonged training, allowed Rob Lucci to even become proficient at using armament hockey, only further increasing his physical prowess and skill as a 6 powers master, a character worthy of leading one of the top secret factions of the world government. For my last character I will be covering for my power concepts category, I'm choosing to cover Bartolomeo Kuma. A lot of mystery surrounds this character. Not much is known about him except that he allies with the world government as a warlord, but at the same time has ties to the Revolutionary Army, a military organization that seeks to overthrow and dismantle the corrupt world government. He plays the part for both sides, and currently in the story, he has agreed to undergo body modifications, now making him a mindless cyborg that is a personal slave to the celestial dragons. The motives behind his actions are unknown, but are sure to be revealed now sooner than later, due to the upcoming debuting of the final arc. His powers are quite powerful, and luckily enough we have seen enough of his abilities to know that his Devil Fruit is by far one of the most powerful in the series. He has eaten the Niku Niku no Mi, a paramecia type Devil Fruit that allows Kuma to repel several things. Objects such as huge boulders, the air itself causing a shockwave of air, incoming attacks including punches, swords, and interestingly enough, he can even repel pain and fatigue from a person's body. Having an ability like that by your side can pretty much guarantee infinite recovery for all your allies despite taking any damage that might be inflicted. Every injury inflicted short of dying, of course. When he repels objects, he has the choice to send them wherever he might choose. Repelling himself can even give him the useful ability of teleportation, a very useful ability that can be used in nearly every possible situation presented to you. The last of his abilities that have been shown on screen is one that could so far be considered his ultimate technique, if not one of his greatest abilities. His final ability allows him to repel and condense air into a single focal point. With so much pressure being compressed into one spot, at the moment of Kuma's choosing, he can send this ball of compressed air towards his opponent, causing a massive shockwave that is capable of taking out even the most durable of foes. Being one of the warlords of the sea, me, it is easy to see why he holds this title and what it could mean if you choose to pick a fight with him. There are several other innovative and artistic powers seen throughout the series of One Piece. The powers I covered I felt were ingenious enough to be included in my video, and other Devil Fruit abilities are sure to be covered in the future. Just like how there are several Devil Fruit powers throughout the series of One Piece, there are several compelling designs that really make characters stand out from the rest, some more than others I might add. I would like to start out with Zoro, given that he carries 3 swords and no other character in One Piece is a 3-sword style user. But given that I've already covered Zoro earlier in my video, I'll give you some variety and start with Eustace Captain Kidd. His design isn't one of my top favorites, but is still compelling nonetheless. And I don't mean to diminish his design or character in any way by saying that. Being a captain, he dons a captain's coat, just like several other captains do, a pretty standard garment Oda has incorporated for several of his characters, along with the battle scars that run along his forehead, neck, torso, abdomen, and forearm. His red hair is flared upward, resembling flames, which to me matches his dynamic and hostile personality. I also like his goggles and yellow lizard print pants that are paired well with a multi-belted war kilt. After the time skip, he was given a mechanical arm, which pairs well with his magnetic-themed devil fruit, and he also became more muscular, giving off more of an intimidation factor. His design pairs well with Law and Luffy's during their battle against Kaido, and I give Oda full props for designing such an engaging character. Another one of my favorites I felt appropriate to include is Charlotte Cracker, a top-ranking officer of the Big Mom Pirates. When he was introduced, he had one of the highest known bounties in the series at the time. His purple hair with strands that spark like firecrackers may not appeal to others the way it appeals to me, but I don't have a problem with them. He's very muscular and tall, has battle scars showing that he's seen his fair share of combat. His gloves help to balance out his midsection, given that he doesn't wear a shirt. His pauldron and sword match well with the rest of his outfit. His color scheme matches that of the rest of Whole Cake Island's colors, and personally, he reminds me of Doflamingo with the constant evil grin expression he has on his face. He didn't have much screen time, but given the stakes at the time of his introduction and the fight he had with Luffy, he holds up as one of my favorite antagonists of the series. I've covered several characters throughout this video. You've seen several of the designs the show had to offer, and with that being said, I'll move on to the stakes included throughout each of the innovative and detailed arcs. The stakes are pretty much the same in every arc, but that doesn't take away from the suspense it gives and the impact it has on the audience. Generally, the Straw Hats will sail to a new island. They must do so in order to progress through the Grand Line, which will allow them to inevitably reach the last island of Raftel. Upon reaching an island, it will be corrupted by a dictating head figure. This head figure will more often than not be a pirate commanding their own crew or organization that has taken over a kingdom in malicious and deceiving ways. The Straw Hats eventually will pick up on the malevolent actions occurring within the kingdom. Luffy and his crew, being as altruistic as they are, will help the locals in need. The Straw Hats will learn of the opposing crew's plans, and to retaliate, the ill-natured opposing forces will attempt to take out Luffy and his crewmates. Being dragged into the conflict surrounding the kingdom, they have no choice but to fight back. Now, of course, there's always the option to stay out of the opposing crew's way and attempt to sail to the next island, but Luffy, being as selfless as he is, always chooses to lend a helping hand no matter what odds they're up against. The buildup of slowly learning of the evil deeds going on really sets the tone throughout the continuation of an arc. The stakes slowly build up and rise until it's captain versus captain and crew versus crew, with the freedom of the country being put on the line. If they fail, not only do they lose their lives, but the country will live on to be oppressed and be ruled by an absolute immoral, evil tyrant. With so much on the line, and each island presenting more and more powerful enemies, the Straw Hats must give it their all in order to vanquish their foes so they can move ever closer to achieving their goal of finding the One Piece. With the stakes being raised more and more with each arc comes the emerging of several inspirational moments that have made lasting impacts on the investing fandom. One such moment that comes to mind is Luffy's finishing blow against Crocodile. Crocodile was the first warlord Luffy fought against in the series. The warlords are known to be one of the 3 great powers of the world. They are all insanely powerful in their own right. With Luffy being considered a rookie pirate at the time, the odds of him winning were highly stacked against him. It was a Paramecia user against a Logia user. Someone who can only stretch against someone that can level an entire town just by touching the fucking ground. When Luffy was delivering the final blow, it was a way of telling the audience, this man really has a shot at becoming the king of the pirates. It was a way of saying, no matter what he's up against or who his opponent is, he's not going to back down and he's not going to give up. He fought his way through pain and fatigue. He showed us who he was at his core. He showed us what devilish willpower he has, and because of that moment, despite being a fictional character, Luffy earned nothing but my respect. Another inspirational moment from One Piece is going to center around Luffy. A lot of inspirational moments from this series revolve around the main character. I hope you're content with that. The moment I want to discuss is the moment in the Dressrosa arc where Luffy makes his comeback against Doflamingo after using Gear 4th for the first time and he passed out. Whenever he came to, he stepped back into the fight by swapping places with Rebecca and saved her with the help of Law's room ability. Saving Rebecca isn't the moment that stands out. It's his reaction after he swaps places with Rebecca. Everyone starts cheering Luffy's name, and you even get a reaction shot of his crew smiling knowing Luffy's back. That alone goes to show how much faith and confidence they have in their captain. Luffy then proceeds to turn around and give Doflamingo one of the most intense stare downs ever. I love that moment so much. There's just so much fire in his eyes. He's pissed off and he's ready for round 2. He's up against Doflamingo, a warlord, a former celestial dragon, a powerful devil fruit and conqueror's hockey user, and he doesn't give a fuck. The fight has dragged on for a while, and he's been giving it his all. He's fatigued from using Gear 4th, and despite all of that, he gets back on his feet. It's a stare that tells the audience he's not done yet. He's pissed, and he wants to take Doflamingo down. It's a stare that says, I'm not done with you yet. I don't care who you are. I'm not gonna stop until I take you down. And the suspenseful music that's playing during that scene only makes it that much more impactful. The last inspirational moment I'll cover is one that was just recently aired in the series. During the Wano arc, I knew at some point Luffy and the other supernovas were going to face off against Kaido and Big Mom, and by God did they deliver on that moment. It starts off with Yamato handing Momonosuke Oden's logbook. As that's happening, Oden is narrating. Oden says, more than 20 years in the future, young, strong pirates who will lead the next era will come surging into the new world. If I die, they're the ones who are going to bring Kaido down. As the narration is playing, Luffy walks toward his vice captain alongside the other supernovas and has the most intense standoff of the series. This series has been running for over 25 years. To see Luffy this far along in his journey and trying to become the Pirate King, he is finally facing off against the Yonko. He's come a long way, and one of the most definitive moments of his journey is finally here. He is finally going up against a Yonko with the future strongest swordsman and vice captain by his side. Kaido is known to be the strongest creature in the world, and Luffy is finally facing off against him in his own territory, and he isn't afraid in the slightest. An amazing scene to watch that gives me goosebumps every time I watch it. No matter how many moments I watch that are similar to this one, all I can think of whenever I watch it is, Luffy will be the king of the pirates. The whole point of this video was to convince you to try the series in the hopes that the effect this show has on me can possibly have the same effect on you. I've watched it for so long and for so many years that it has a bigger impact on me than it would for most other people. But if you decided to invest your time into watching One Piece, it will deliver a story and inspiring moments that I promise will not disappoint. Anyway, stay tuned for the next video.